All right, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are on this networking webinar, and this is a very, first webinar of my series, the networking webinar with building and leveraging professional networks in the digital age. I'm very happy to introduce my favorite professor and speaker of the day, Riffat Faizan. I'll quickly introduce first and let us know more about ma'am. So, ma'am is a doctor of business administration, specialized in gender and leadership with over 18 publications in Scopal journals. She has over 26 years of experience and in education with logistics and retail industries, both in Canada and internationally as well. She has extensive expertise in networking, logistics, and operations with managing corporate and clients internationally. She is very much skilled in teaching, coaching, and I have personally experienced it. And she is also expert in collaborating with clients, research from diverse uh, culturals and professional backgrounds. She has a proven track records in building and leading the international teams as well. Very much happy to introduce ma'am. And as I said, this all is happened due to a network. There was a network between me and my professor, and that's what we are here today. Uh, to start with, a very good quote, which we have learned from professor as well. Your network is your net worth. So it's very simple line. Your net worth is your net worth, and that is we will learn today. We will see. I assure you all, this will be a very interesting and uh, uh, learning webinar for you all. And I hand over this to my professor and the speaker of the day.
Thank you so much, Haride. It's a pleasure, and thank you so much for giving me that honor and respect to be a part of your web series. So yes, we are here because of our network, and we did collaborated on this, which is an immense pleasure. So how you said your network is your net worth, and I had said that often in class, but let me just start with simple example of introducing network. So I'm going to talk about network and net worth in one thing, and that is Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo recently, it's a few months now, has been quite been in news because he signed a major deal with Al Nasser. And for that specific deal, he got paid 4 million USD. It's actually in GBP. But if we do conversion, now comes the question. A person who has been rejected by Manchester League, they don't want to do anything, drop on the bench from his own, team. How did all came in the context? And Ronaldo had progress in his life through his network. So if we look at his journey, he was very young, very poor, but his father was a kitman on a soccer field. And he had actually requested at that time the coach that, can my son just come and watch? And that led to Ronaldo going, being present, showing up, being there, and getting a break actually. Um, when we now come recently to the last year or so now, the individual is an icon, but he still struggles to find deals when he's dropped by Manchester League. And one person that's his very close friend, Ricardo Rafael, he actually helped Ronaldo to get Al Nasser deal, and it said one of the highest paid deals. So how did that happen? And again, it's a network.
Yeah.
So what we really saw was that in 2000, early 2000s, Ricardo was doing a photo shoot. He was a Nike's hired by Nike, and he was doing a photo shoot for a Portugal team. He met Ronaldo. They started kind of creating that friendship. And in 2000, later on in 2000s, Ricardo introduced Ronaldo to Nike sponsorship. So when Nike needed an athlete to sponsor, Ronaldo was referred.
Right.
And they had been collaborating for past 20 years. So to an extreme where, or to an extent, sorry, that Ronaldo appointed Ricardo as his, we call it as personal manager, right? So now Ronaldo has an agent who's looking to get him into after being fired from Manchester. And he is enabled wherever he takes Ronaldo, he's getting a refusal or a rejection. But his good friend Ricardo steps in and actually uses his contacts to get him with Al Nasser.
Correct.
So
So
if
just to add now,
yes,
now Ronaldo had his father who
yes,
asked him to come and watch the match, right? So
yes,
there's a network connection. Though it was
absolutely,
his father, though
yes,
in our life there might be some other person who takes us to watch the match, right? And
absolutely,
that's why we need a network. So on
absolutely.
this point, I would like to ask, like, what exactly the network is? What do you mean by network?
So when I explain a network, I look at it as it's. I'll go back to a very basic law. It's a Denver law, right?
Okay.
Where we look at people, and Denver law says that an individual can remember only 150 contacts. And I've done those kind of experiments with you guys where I would tell you in my first class to pick up your phone and call one person
Yeah.
that you think will give you $50 to $100 without asking you a
Yeah.
question and without asking for a return. And
Yeah.
often the catch would be don't call your father your mother because that's your close network
Yeah, that's
already.
the first network we remember.
Exactly. So your network is already there. Network means the people who are around you, the
Correct.
people who are in relationship with you, right? And your network basically, like, look at yourself like it's like an, we talk about network, and the first thing is computers. You have a Wi-Fi and you have your laptop, and they're getting connected.
Right.
How do they get connected? There is a stream that connects, right, to send the signals. So
Exactly.
that's how I want people to look at the network, is a bridge to success. So coming to Denver law, if you have 150 contacts, so you can't remember all of them. So to just summarize, a quick way of knowing your contact is, if you are in this center, the five closest people around you, these are your loved ones. That's your tight circle.
Right.
Now, this tight circle can give you other contexts that you can branch out and establish. If you don't want context from these, you have an outer layer, which we call it good friends, and you have 15 people. So there,
Right.
5, 10 to 15, you have 20 people already.
Right.
That's even enough for you if you want to establish.
Yeah.
Then you come to a further third layer,
Yeah.
which is we call excessive layer, right? So we migrate between these layers and establish relationship based on. So when you ask me what is a network, I would say it's your frequency at which you see people, and it's your frequency at which you establish relationship with people. That's what your network is.
Yeah. Also, this network, you also have some guarantee for the network, right?
Yes,
See, connecting on LinkedIn to any of the random person is not a network in my terms.
yes,
There should be a trust on it, and there should be a guarantee on it. It's not of just using someone for your needs, but
yes,
that network should be in any kind of perspective or any terms that the network helps you out. So it might be your emotional help, it might be
yes,
your financial help, it might
yes,
be your corporate help, right?
yes.
So the network should be something we trust on. Is it like that?
Absolutely. It
What
is.
do you
It
think?
is. Because, see, when you are reaching out to person, as you said, randomly, and you give a like to their post,
Yeah,
they don't know you, so
exactly.
it doesn't really matter to them.
Yeah,
Because I always say to my students that they don't need you, they have their own circle. If you have your own circle, they have their own circle.
correct.
You need people to establish your worth or value in terms of how you want to succeed. As you said, the trust comes in what? When you go to the bank, you have two accounts. You have a checking and a saving account, and you have a trust that bank is not going to touch your money.
Yeah,
It is there, right? Same as your network. You have a trust that you have one account that will always be there for you, that
correct.
helps you with your day-to-day kind of like growth. Then you have a saving account, is a people that comes from your company, your colleagues, your classmates, and you lean on them when you really need a backup or a support. That's your saving account, is when you need money, you take it out and you spend it, but you replenish it.
Correct.
There is a third thing that I say, and when I look at networks, I will classify them as personal, professional, and strategic. And strategic network is your investment, and that's how Fortune 500 CEOs establish their network. And if you notice them, they all know each other and they all move around the Fortune 500 companies. They don't go. If I'm working for LG, I can join Ford, right? And I'll give you an example shortly of that as well.
Hmm.
So when you are looking at strategic network, this is your mutual funds. These are your GIC. You don't withdraw them. You keep them and you keep investing in them for a long run, because
Right.
you know that eventually if you want to be a project manager or you want to be executive, you need these people around you that can groom you, show you, give you connections, give you recommendation, some sort of boost, right?
Yeah.
So this is kind of very crucial. Now, just to come back and give you an example is, and I'm talking a lot because I am
No, no,
really
that's
excited
what
about
that's what. See,
it.
we are coming up with the examples, and that relates with our life and daily
Yes.
happenings. So it
So,
becomes, better
yeah.
in understanding when we relate those things.
And that's what
Yeah.
I want for all of us to walk away with, knowing
Yeah.
today that this is very crucial for us, right?
Correct.
So we have heard of Nissan, and we know it's one of the good brand and one of the well-respected vehicle
Yeah.
company. When Renault bought Nissan, now Renault is French, and they wanted to buy Nissan, and there were two choices between Kia in Korea or Nissan in Japan, so they can increase. Nissan at the time was going under bankruptcy. They were in billions-dollar debt. And when Renault decided that they wanted to purchase, now look at the events is that the CEO of Renault knew Carlos Ghosn, who
Hmm.
was at that time working for Michelin, and they brought him as a CEO. So now Michelin, Renault, Nissan. So you're looking at all these top
Right.
companies and they're hiring within that, right? So he brings in Goshan from Michelin tires to Renault and sends him to Japan to turn Nissan around,
Yeah.
and eventually puts him as a successor. So once the actual CEO retires, Gossan is going to take it. And he at one point decided to lead both companies, Renault and Nissan, Europe and Asia. Asia. So looking at that, it's very fundamental for you to have not only a personal or professional, but strategic network. If you want to grow where you want to go, you need
Correct.
people to give you that direction and
Yeah.
guidance.
Also, when we talk about the new emerging generation, or maybe us,
Yes.
now we as a students or as a learners, we don't know how to build a network, right?
Yes.
We don't know exact definition, though we know that some talking to someone or
Yes.
meeting once is a
Mhm.
network, but how do we build it? How one can progress on it? How can he can enhance his skills to
Mhm.
make that network more depth, more deep. So,
Yes. So there is something called networking plan, which I'll go a bit later on, but just to
okay,
kind of lay a foundation, let's say you are a very beginner,
yeah,
and you just don't know where do I start. So the first thing is, uh, and often the reason I'll give you is why you don't know where to start is because you're going through imposter syndrome, which means I'm not good enough.
yeah.
I don't know how to speak the language well, or it could be I don't know.
So
My neighbor might
lack
not
of
like it.
confidence.
Lack of confidence, fear of being judged,
Yeah,
and also staying in your comfort zone,
yeah,
right? And there has been research done where they say that what really happens is that people, right, men or women, they generally tend to gravitate towards their own genders when they're forming network. That's why men will move higher as CEOs because they have strong men to men bonding. We women often struggle with the glass ceiling is because we are not supporting. We don't have that
correct.
strong of a network, right? So
Yeah,
the first thing for you to build your network is start looking inside first. Who do I know? And start looking a little bit further in my comfort zone. So your network starts with your classmates, your colleagues, your neighbors,
right.
and more importantly, who lives the next door from you or who lives in the next street from you. Have you really made an effort to go and introduce yourself, right? So
Yeah,
are you resisting, or are you actually saying there is no network for me? So and that's other thing. And then you feel comfortable only speaking with people that you see on a daily basis. So if you see a cashier once or twice or three times, then you would say good morning. But you need to come out of that. And you need to, something we call is shift, rethink, and transform. So there is a strategy you can use called sort. So first you have to stop, sort. S is for stop, stop,
Mhm.
take a look who's around me, my brother, sister. Okay, these are very close people, I talk to them every day. Exclude. What about my classmates? I'm sitting with them every day. I have 40 of my classmates. How many
Yeah,
I know?
change
Right?
every day,
Yeah,
maybe.
change it. Maybe sit with two others. Maybe go for coffee with the third one, or maybe ask your classmates to give you introduction to someone else.
Yeah,
So that way, if your classmate is here and he might have a family here or a friend circle which is a little bit stronger than yours, ask for introduction, but not like just give me introduction, but like
yeah,
establish that relationship, right? So
yeah,
that's observe who's around you, observe where you're sitting, observe who you're connecting with. Then R, which means recognize what is the potential, because not every relationship is going to materialize, right? And don't reach out to people just thinking that, you know, I want job. You don't want job,
right.
you want career, you want.
Yeah, remember that that's not a first thing you directly go with someone and ask for a job, right? I
Yes,
I want to connect to you and I am here to ask for a job. That
yes,
that sounds a bit weird for first time, and it's a feeling for the other person, like how
yes,
someone can come directly and ask for a job. I
yes,
don't know him, right?
yes. And to add to it, if you apply for passport and they will tell you to have a witness that you have known for 5 years. You
Okay.
can't just go to anyone and say, "Can you sign my application because I'm going to
Yeah,
renew my passport?" You have to know the person. And all
exactly.
these successful people in life, they, when they have mentors, they have established relationship with these people before they even became someone in your life to give you guidance. So
Correct.
you have to take ownership. So sort is basically stop, observe, recognize, and take ownership. Take ownership that I can go today and sit in Tim Hortons and talk to someone. And I think I've put you guys through so many experiments
Yeah,
that talk to your neighbor, go sit in the coffee shop, go to the library, read something, keep it ready for discussion. When you hear someone talking, with humility, introduce yourself. With all these things are small techniques that push you out of your comfort zone. And
right.
the moment you do it once, your fear is gone because now
Yeah,
you've treaded the unknown already.
yeah, that's a matter of breaking the ice, I see.
Yes,
So it's the first time you just need to talk to someone. You know, I am able to talk to someone
yes,
unknown, and that
yes,
helps to make you talk to many people.
yes.
So coming to the point,
Mhm.
is there something your nature or your interpersonal behaviors you connect with, right? Now,
So,
if I am an introvert and
yes,
if I see someone extrovert and I
yes.
see he's talking too much, talking aloud, he's
Mhm,
talking anything, but
mhm,
he's a good network to make. I would
mhm,
go to him and talk to him because he's so
mhm,
extrovert and I don't feel
mhm,
meeting to him.
mhm,
Though he's a good person
mhm.
in his terms, but is there something your nature or behavior that matters, or should we think about it?
So I'll tell you one thing, and it's very interesting. So I I will tell you from my personal example.
Okay.
People think I love talking, there
Mm,
are times when I don't want to talk,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I like observing people. So for me, it's not so much as your personality; it's your attitude first,
Right.
right? And attitude is the only word in English vocabulary that sums up to 100%, which
Right.
means that's the only thing. What is your attitude? So to understand attitude is, what is your belief system? How do you look at objects? As you said, maybe I don't like that person, but what is your attitude? Because that person cannot be bad, but
Yeah.
that person is doing something that you already have a belief system about it.
Right.
Why is he laughing so loud? He's so annoying. Like those kind of things. So
Yeah.
this is your belief system. So you need to kind of stop evaluating people, right? So going back to imposter syndrome, it's coming because you think I can't be that courageous because I'm introvert. I don't really like this person.
Yeah.
I'm not going to gel with this person, right?
Exactly.
So dropping your inhibition and then looking at it, people, as a thread. The more stronger your network is, the stronger the thread is to carry you
Yeah.
over, isn't it? Like you would, when the bridge is under construction, you don't put weight on it.
Correct.
But once it's built, you zoom by and you don't even feel anything. And that's what exactly it's.
Maybe we humans have the tendency to overjudge something,
Do.
and like it's not everyone. If we see
Yes.
someone is walking and he
Yeah.
has some weird hairstyles, and we'll just talk and like see his
Yes.
hairstyle or see her hairstyle, and we
Yeah.
kind of overjudge. So
Yeah.
unless or until we know him and we judge
Mhm.
it and we
Mhm.
break that network before starting the journey. So
Yes.
there's something we need to sacrifice, I guess. some of
Yes.
some
Yes.
of your uh, maybe attitude, a part of attitude, you need to sacrifice that and
Yes.
go ahead.
Yes. And also remember, like, your network is your social signature, right?
Yeah.
So again, example is you are uh, a reflection of the five people you hang out with. So if you're hanging out with people that are just with same belief system as you and you're not diversifying, you're not growing, right?
Yeah.
For you to establish a relationship, you need to kind of reach to people from different backgrounds, because it's your learning which you learn now with in communicating with people from diverse background allows you to get skilled up. So when you move up the ladder or you go into another, because these people are not going to be with you for the rest of your life, your relationship comes and goes. If we look at Denver law, it's like a garden with weed. You need to take the weeds out. um, and there are some flowers that they don't grow in all seasons, and you let them go. So you have to understand that. And once you understand, your judgment comes down a lot. Your
Correct.
attitude changed, because then you know, I'm not here to judge this person. I'm here to establish a relationship. And we human have this sensory aspect or element to ourselves that we can tell. We can tell right away. And often I would say that, there's usually, we say in the first impression, we say that person is so rude, and that person ends up being your best friend. You said he or she is rude because you judged it
Yeah.
very quick, very soon.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's what my take is. Like, we need to get out of this emotional thing and
Exactly. And
become more.
also networking takes, it's a process. It
Yes.
takes your so much of patience.
Yes.
If you are going to someone reaching out, maybe he is a busy person, CEO, executive, and he might not reply you on the same time.
Yes.
He might take time, but you should have some patience to for that and wait for it. Maybe the
Yes.
opportunity is on the way, but you lose the hope and it went off. So patience is also key for networking, I guess.
Yes. And it's not in the book, but when I started teaching networking, I created this model that I call it's called PCP model, which, in my opinion, is you need to understand that you start with patience, then you go into consistency, and
Yeah,
then you are being perseverant.
correct.
If you have the patience because networking is going to take a lot of emotional energy,
Exactly.
a lot of physical energy, because you're going to constantly be reaching out to people, getting. Once you have the patience to do it and you do it consistently, then you will have the perseverance.
Yeah.
Again, giving another example, Ronaldo said people want to say that we want to be like Ronaldo. I have given you the template what Ronaldo does. How many of you have the discipline to do it?
Correct.
Right? If you have the discipline to do it and you do it consistently, you will succeed. There is no way you can succeed in establishing relationships, being for
True.
your career goal or your professional, or for just personal.
So it's kind of planting a tree. You plant a
Yes.
seed,
Yes.
you pour the water, you grow with a
Yes.
care, with affection. At
Yes.
certain level, you love that thing. You kind of
Mhm.
think of a family of you, and you
Yes.
keep on caring of it. It gives
Mhm.
flowers, fruits. But after getting the fruits, it doesn't mean it's done, right?
Yeah.
We wait for the another season. We again take care, and we gain the fruits.
Yes.
So same kind of things are in the networks building as well.
Yes. And to add to what you just said, Harry, giving you another example is like, look at olives. It takes about, I believe, 5 years or more for them
Yeah,
to grow. And when they started planting olives, they know that it will take that
5 years.
long. So you
Yeah.
have to develop that
Yeah,
patience.
even one of my friend, his grandfather is doing a farming of sandalwood,
Right.
And sandalwood takes I met him earlier. I used to do YouTube videos and all. I met him. The sandalwood plant takes around 20-30 years to
Wow.
grow. So
Right.
when he planned, he has a mindset, I have to wait for 30 years at
30
least,
years. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So same thing, I can connect with the network. So it takes time. It doesn't mean
Yes.
someone is not giving you attention or not replying. It doesn't mean that you are like
Yes.
ignored, right? Maybe
Yes.
he has some other reasons.
Exactly. And the thing is, once you have the patience, you will see the reward, because you know that I need to. And nothing is personal when people reject you or refuse you or don't want to. There is nothing personal. Everybody has their own life going parallel to what your life is going,
Yeah.
and priorities of course shifts accordingly, right? So it's just that it takes time. But for me, if you're establishing a relationship, there is something called digital, and there is old school traditional, that classic way. And I believe that the classic way helps a lot more for you to establish relationship than that you do in digital. They both will serve you, but they'll both serve you with different purposes, and you have to be very clear of what your purpose of establishing this network is.
Right. Now, let's talk about building and meeting or making connection with someone who is on executive level or, you know, on a big post in the company
Yes.
or corporates. Now,
Yes.
what do we do to reach out to them? How do we, what skills they look for, and what are the way of reaching out to them?
Yes. So I'll again start with an example. Two
Yeah.
companies, Google and Apple. We know them,
Yeah.
uh, and we can't survive without both of them.
Correct.
So when Google is hiring, it basic and you would have seen it. They never advertise their hiring. Never would you see that
Exactly. Yeah.
Google will come out and say, "We'll hire you," or "We are looking to hire," right? And the reason Google doesn't do that, and why Google is still one of the happiest place for workers, is because they understand the importance of collaboration and importance of interpersonal skills that you use. So when I say collaboration, that means when Google is hiring, they will come to the department in which they are hiring, and they will ask their employees, "Hey, who's in your circle that you know would be a good fit to work with you?" Or
Yeah.
they will say, "We are thinking of bringing someone from the other department. Which department you think?" So basically what they're doing is they're establishing the network within their company, and they're
Correct.
establishing it so strong that they promote within the company, and or they allow the employees to bring someone that they can work, because
Right.
it increased productivity. So one thing that a company that looks for individual is, what are their interpersonal skills? Apple, they don't look at your qualification. It's one aspect. Yes, it's a requirement of the position. How well can you collaborate with people? And collaborating is what?
Right.
Establishing relationship, networking with people, how well you are forming your teams, right? So when we say that we need to establish relationships or need to get into companies, I suggest that please don't send messages to CEOs, executives, because 90 to 100% the CEOs are busy receiving
Yeah.
presentations, conferences, or making decisions. the a lot of the things that happens, and these are one of the key stakeholders of companies, is either their employees or the lower level management. The lower level management is termed as the gatekeeper, the frontline people. So they are usually very much in an interaction with the other employees, right? So they would say, "Hey, we are hiring, know someone." And that's why 85% to 90% jobs are filled to referral, and they don't go into advertisement, or even if they get advertisement, that's because of the courtesy that they have to do it.
Oh,
So lower level management is, or employees of the company is your key.
correct.
It's
And how about the hiring managers then?
Yes, so hiring managers is a little different,
Okay.
because what really happens with hiring managers is that when they're looking at the resume, of course, if a resume is sent by referral, that will get the top priority,
Right.
right? But the hiring managers are skimming. They don't have time. So they're not putting an effort to learn or get to know you. What they really are doing is just looking at your resume and kind of matching you. But when you have a solid connection with employees or lower level management, then, because as I said, they are the key, their word really matters. So they have more power to make that influence that you need.
Correct.
So when people go and join hiring, you know, people that do hiring, recruiters or so, please remember that that relationship is not a networking relationship. That relationship is just like a one time relationship, like a flash relationship, where you're just meeting them to get a job. So they will look at you through that,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And one example I would like to share,
Mm-hmm.
when we talk about recruiters, is I'll give you my example, simple. When I was looking for a job, I applied, and luckily I got a call, and I had a very good relationship with that girl built up. So
Okay.
what how our relationship was that she was hearing I was doing my job good, right? And then I would call her so often and say, hey, how's it going? Just wanted to say thank you. Or every email I'll send her just once in a while, say thank you so much, really appreciate. And then I said to her, I said, can I refer people to you? And she said, yeah, of course, why not?
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I established relationship. I didn't wanted anything from her, and I had no reason for her to give me anything. But I thought she was so nice, genuinely, that I started referring people to her. And actually, she helped my husband when he was a newcomer to the country to get a job, and he's very
Okay.
happy in his job. So I'm like, when you start giving, and I didn't establish a relationship like a recruiter that just give me a job and then I disappear. I established a relationship which actually paid
Correct.
later on.
Now, also, this thing has unexpected outcomes. You
Ye-
never know what is going to happen next, right? So, and also, is there something, how do you think like this platforms like LinkedIn or this, does they really help in building the networks? Because I
yes.
see people have thousands of connections nowadays. Now,
Yes.
out of those thousands, how many are the important network, or as I said, the closed circle ones for that person? Even as we have discussed earlier, in Facebook we have thousands. You asked us to see how much friends you have on Facebook. We have 2,500, 3,000.
Yes.
And then we think like this connection are really, do they matters, or are for just for the sake of the network, for
Yeah.
the picture, just for the purpose.
Yes.
So
So I'll answer this question into two parts. So is LinkedIn important? Does LinkedIn help? Absolutely, it does. It's really really does make a difference, right? Um, when we are establishing relationship via social media, LinkedIn has 40% of millionaire are on LinkedIn. So
yeah.
40 is like almost half, right? They are there. And I was reading an article, it was by Harvard Business, and it was very interesting article where they said that CEOs are not on all six platforms. So you have to understand social media and social media platforms are two different things. So when you and the article mentioned that you will find majority of the executives on LinkedIn or Twitter,
Right.
but you won't find them on Facebooks because they understand that these mediums are just draining people. It's like, psychological, drawing you in. So they tend to stay away from it because their time is money, right? So you will find them on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn, in my belief, is a platform that opened the doors for you to reach out to more people. So yes, if you have 2,000 contacts on LinkedIn, I wouldn't say that's a good thing, um, personally, because I would rather you focus on the quality of people you have than the quantity. Because the more people you have a very thin thread of relationships. The minimal people you have is a very thick thread of relationships. And of course, when you are creating your network with on LinkedIn or on other social media, they use Facebook uses 6 degree rule, which means that they will connect you with six people that you know. But that is also in your face to face.
Right.
Five friends will definitely have, because it was an experiment done by Microsoft, and they found out that this is true. That if every five people that you know will lead you to the sixth person that will be mutual in your contact, you just
Right.
don't know about it. So
So that was
yes.
one of the reason I chose LinkedIn to go for our first webinar series.
Yes.
We had an option of YouTube, but I didn't go for it because there is something, though someone is not watching us today, maybe he can come later on LinkedIn
Yes.
because this is something you find professional things, you find
Yes.
corporate things, and you can join someone, right? So
Yes.
that was one of the reason I chose LinkedIn today, and it really helps. It has helped me for getting my first job. If I share my personal experience, I
Yes.
was just passed out, and I was very new to LinkedIn. I started posting things, and people send the message, I'm looking for this job, and
Mm.
I have the skills and everything. I posted it, and I saw one of the a post by one hiring manager, and I just applied. Right, I personally messaged her. Uh, Writing I'm interested is not working every time, so I
Yeah.
personally message her and
Mm-hmm.
say like I'm looking for this job, and I think I'm fitting for this job. She told me we are looking for 2 years of experience. So I thought like this is the end then. I
Mm-hmm.
don't have. I'm a fresher, right? And again, that PCP things comes here. I had patience. I thought let's talk. Let's end this today. Let's maybe next week I'll talk again. Then I replied her again. Is there any position, or you can just believe in me? I guess I am confident. I will do that job. And she said, no, we are like done with some of the guys and we are interviewing them. I thought again that was the end for me. uh, in the same week, after like couple of days, I received a message from their end. uh, I'm selected and I am eligible for the interview. So it was a 2 years of experience, it was a requirement. And you know
Yes.
so as I said, network has unexpected outcomes, you
Yeah.
never know, and that was one of the outcome I personally found on LinkedIn. So people who experience their life on LinkedIn, they know what's the importance, but
Yes.
who has doesn't yet, they will say like no, nothing goes there. But I would say have a patience. LinkedIn is only the platform where we get the things.
Yes.
Again, talking about the X, the Twitter,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the drawback of Twitter, in my perspective, is it's very short. You have to keep things very short, and it's not more descriptive, and you
Mm-hmm.
can't engage in more things.
Yes.
Nowadays, LinkedIn is bringing a lot of things to us. Maybe this live or posting the things,
Yes.
visualizations, job offers, and so these are the reasons why LinkedIn is more on the upper level in perspective of job searching and networking. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And just to add to it, um, when a job is advertised on LinkedIn, do remember that employer is paying a premium price to have it.
Yeah.
That means they are serious and they're looking for skills, right? So
Yep.
they're looking for someone who is going to be as dedicated and committed to when they bring them on board. So yes, LinkedIn, and I've heard a lot of stories to add to your story, a lot of stories from my students, from my colleagues that have been able to secure positions through LinkedIn, solely through LinkedIn, a first job, and they have found it through LinkedIn. So that means LinkedIn does work, but do you know how to leverage it is the
Correct.
question. How you are
Yeah.
using it is the
Yeah.
question,
So we
right?
come to the point. What are the tips for networking? What are the tips for using or reaching out to someone? What do
And
they look for? Let's say about the hiring manager.
yes,
So we go for a job and we have a random common message. Hi
yes,
there, nice in touching.
yeah.
There's a random scripted message. Everyone has the same thing. So what are the important tips they look for?
So one of the thing that I believe that when an employer is hiring, as I said, is interpersonal skills. That's the first thing. How do you leverage your relationship on LinkedIn is that often I recommend a lot to my students and to anyone that I talk to is please uh, educate yourself. Educate doesn't mean you have to sit read journals and article, but keep yourself informed of to what is happening in your industry, also what is happening around you. uh, any interesting book that you have read, if you post it, and it's my personal experience. I was reading a book called Design Your Next Chapter by Debbie Travis. I loved her because I used to watch her show, so when I saw her book, I read it. The book resonated, so I'm not a big selfie and a poster person, but I posted it on Insta. And you will not believe I had only 7 people on my Insta, and I got like around 150 people commenting on that picture of the book because someone had read it, someone could was resonating with it, someone was like really excited that, oh, what is it all about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you reach out on digital platform to other people, you post something that you've come across. Also remember, it's a big responsibility because it's a credibility, but it doesn't have to be like, always reposting someone else's post. You could share your friend's picture and say, hey, was, saw this picture, wanted to share with all of you. Or you can read something and say, or recommend a restaurant, went to this and ambience is great and would recommend this place. These are small things that will establish your credibility, and then you go into bigger things. If you have written something, if a thought has crossed your mind, if you have observed something, um, you know reach out and share it, because people will come to know that you have. If you keep saying um, same thing over and over, like if I see someone's post and I'm like, oh, nice, nice, then
Yeah.
that means people will like, she doesn't have her own opinion. I mean, like,
And
you
even
want to
we
be
don't
genuine.
type it. We don't type it. LinkedIn
Yeah.
provides that format. We just click it and it's posted.
And of course
Uh,
everybody knows, right? So
yeah.
where is the authenticity? Because
Yeah,
that's
so
what the whole
I
key is.
think there are some exercises we do it. So
Yes,
very importantly, we overjudge ourselves whether I'm speaking something right or wrong.
yes,
How is my language? How is my slang?
yes,
Whatever it is, you are coming from different parts of world, and every part has different slangs. So it
yes,
doesn't matter, right?
yes,
What I do is personally, when I am alone, I'm in a
yes,
bathroom, or when I drive the cars, I
yes,
speak to myself.
yes.
That's what I do. I keep it on doing it because, uh, and then I try to find myself where I was wrong,
Hmm.
where I can correct myself, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
that's one of the exercise I do. But according to you, what are the other things which we can grow?
So yesterday, interestingly, I was talking to my husband, and we were discussing. And think of it. Uh, so umbrella. When you go shopping for umbrella, the very common color is black.
Yeah,
Very common
yeah,
color. And if a color is green or red or white, it stands out, right? So what I would really want all of us to think of it this way: that what is so unique about me? Okay, English is not good. It's my second language because I interpret it back from my language into English. So of course,
mm-hmm.
vocabulary
Correct.
changes.
Yeah,
But you're establishing relationship because you are unique. When you start judging yourself and says, well, my English is not good, how I'm going to communicate, you already are going into imposter syndrome, where you are.
correct.
So you need to tell, I don't care my English is good or not.
Right.
I am able to tell someone that I love what they have written, or I have learned from that. It's not very hard. You can say it in broken English and people still will be open to accept you, right?
Yeah.
So again, the thing is, what is that you have unique, that you think is so unique about you, that if you polish it more, you become indispensable at your
Correct.
workplace, in your life, everywhere, even in your relationships. And also, as you do, I talk a lot to myself, you know. And one thing I would suggest everyone, if they could do it, is try looking in the mirror. We are not capable of looking in the mirror consecutively in our face
Yeah.
constantly. We can't. We just sort of like get agitated. If you can do that, and the moment it resonates with you that you're worth it, and that's why L'Oreal always say you're worth it, because
Yeah.
you have to believe in yourself that yes, I'm good at
Yeah.
it.
Very important. We don't do that actually.
Yeah.
We fail there doing it, and that's the reason we don't grow.
Yes.
uh, uh, yeah, currently we started learning French. Okay, and
Without
one of my friend was suggesting,
yes.
just learning French won't work. You
Hmm.
have to speak. You have
Yes.
to speak to someone who has learned French or who knows French, right?
Yes.
So on the stations or go stations, I have heard French language, and I
Yes.
tried to decode it, whether I'm understanding or not.
Yes.
Unfortunately, there was no one to speak with me or
Hmm.
to have a conversation in French.
Hmm.
That's where I lacked. So all I have to say is you need to speak up to
Yes.
improve anything, any language or any
Yes.
exercise, and there comes a discipline, right? You keep
Yes.
on doing the same thing again and again, you learn it.
Yes.
So speaking is more important in network. So let's
Mhm.
say if you are in a meeting or somewhere else, you met someone, you
Yes.
don't know what to speak.
Yes.
Just
Absolutely.
meeting or introducing yourself, it's not just a thing you have to do, right? You
Yes.
have to come up with some points and you know how to speak to someone. And
Yeah.
that comes with exercise.
Yes, like constantly working on yourself, as you said, right? When you are learning something new, it's so uncomfortable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's pushing you out of your comfort zone, and then you keep judging. Now, on top of English, you have French to like which one, right? But if you keep doing it, you will get mastery in it, and that's
Correct.
the whole point. Keep
Yeah.
doing it, keep trying it. Somehow you will learn how to navigate through it, right?
Correct. So this all we talked was about the virtual platforms,
Yes,
networking on virtual platforms,
yes,
meeting someone virtually, meetings and all. How about meeting physically in conferences, in any
yes,
networking event
yes.
where every corporate comes up
Mhm.
with the impression, right? Which is
Yes,
one of the important thing.
yes,
And how do we build up for that physical things?
yes. So, the very first thing that I think when we are meeting people physically, and just so that I make it clear, I'm not a person that dresses up notoriously or like a high end. Like I don't. So I'm not saying by what that, oh, do this or that. What I'm really trying to say is, if you could, because when you meet someone, and we have that in our real estate rule, the first 8 seconds determine if you like that person likes you, or if you're going to be there. It's like the first 8 seconds tell you if you're going to buy that house or not, because it's all you're visualizing,
Right.
right? Imagining.
Correct.
So keeping that in mind, when you are meeting people, right, your first impression is going to be very critical. It's either make it or break it kind of deal for you. So when you're going for any event, like say you went, and there are a lot of events on Eventbrite that you can use, or Meetup, that are very good, right?
Correct.
So the first thing I want you to remember is, you're going to that event, not necessarily you're going to meet those people again, right? So be yourself. If you make mistake, it's all good. It's all good, because you're going for the first time.
Correct.
Dress up properly. Make sure you have few pointers with you that you can discuss. Has been a new so let's say Canada soccer game is happening right now, women's soccer. Read a little bit about that. You
Yeah.
are in Canada, right?
Correct.
Or a new movie is coming out, right? What you want to do is, you want to have few pointers that if the conversation stalls or you don't understand how to do it, you can bring something in between.
Exactly.
um, the other is active listening and active engagement of your communication. Your effective communication is your engagement. So when you listen, which is 60-40 rule, 60% you listen in event, 40% you share. When you listen, pick something that they're sharing with you. So don't always like try to just run your mind that, okay, if I'm going to ask this question, you're not there to ask question, you're there to establish relationship. So let the person speak, because they might have been there before you,
Correct.
and it will tell from the way they are. Do not be afraid to introduce yourself, but don't introduce yourself as, I am a CEO or engineer. Nobody wants to know what your designation is. People want to first know you as a human, right?
Yes.
Have a humor, like, I'm a father of four, two little monsters, in a humorous way, in a cute way. People will start breaking that ice and start accepting you. If their topic is going somewhere that you don't know anything, and they ask you something, you could just say, you know what, it's so funny. I'm like lost here, but I'm enjoying the conversation. At least I'm learning something. The way you start spinning things in a humorous way and not take it personally, you will open up more and more. So the
Exactly.
first thing is, please dress up properly, have some cue cards, be ready, be confident. And confidence is something you're going to have to teach yourself. It doesn't come easy. So keeping an eye
So
contact,
the
smiles.
two things in this, as you said, first we should dress up and we should have a kind of personality, right?
Yes, yes.
We say first impression is last impression, but unless someone comes, you go to someone and you talk.
Mhm,
Before that, he
mhm.
should feel he can talk to you, right?
Yes,
It's not be. I don't. I should not feel I don't want to talk to him.
yeah.
It's not in my terms. I remember my father used to say me in perfume shops, whenever you go, he sees you, your personality, and depending on your personality, he chooses the level of perfumes, right?
Yes, yes.
He was telling me there was one already two of the
Mhm,
guys standing in perfume
mhm,
shop. And my father on that day, maybe he was going to some function or event, and he was very well dressed up with good watch and formal clothes. And there was a couple of guys standing there. They were in one section. When my father entered in the perfume shop, the person took on all the premium perfume side, and he kept on showing high level of perfume ranges. He was sharing his experience, how the personality matters. Even in this events and this engagement programs, our personality always matters, how we dress up. And we these things we see up from there itself, right? How someone has come up with, and we learn and we execute in our life.
Yes.
Yeah,
Harita, just to take you back, remember we said we overjudge? That's
exactly.
why you have to dress up. You're not dressing up to impress. You're dressing up for yourself so that you could get that opportunity not to be judged.
Yeah.
So, two things if I could share. One is a very it was an experience that we had. So I was wearing like sweatpants and a very I was in a bad condition. I went to Bulk Barn and I shopped and the bill was $200.
Hmm.
And I had a new debit, so that I didn't realize that you can't tap debit for more than 100. You have to put it in. So I tap it and the kid literally said, "You don't have money and you came here shopping?" And I'm like, next time dress properly so you don't get it doesn't
Yeah.
matter how much you have in your account, right? The other thing is, I did this experiment with my students in a class where I said, "I'll pay for your flight, I'll arrange a limousine, I'll send you to Burj Al Arab, and you're gonna go have a tea. I'm providing you everything. So as soon as you get off the vehicle and a valet is opening the door for you and taking your car away, what would you do first?" And majority of them, before they were entering Burj Al Arab, because we were doing this like really visually, they're like looking at their shoes. I'm like, why? There you go, because you're judging yourself.
Straightforward.
Like, can I go? Lack of
Yeah.
confidence, fear of being judged, fear of unknown, and most importantly, I'm not good enough. I don't deserve to be here. I mean, these people will judge me. You don't know they'll judge you or not. It's way far off there. But you do that to yourself.
So these are the side aspects of
Yes.
the network. So to build a network, these things are important, right?
Yes.
Also, many people feel awkward in seeking
Yes.
advice from someone.
Yes.
If
Yes.
I know he is an expert in that
Yes.
field, I need some advice, but I don't have that courage, or I don't feel going to him and seeking
Mhm.
advice,
Mhm.
right? So
Yes.
how do we break that?
Yes. So, one thing is, you need to start finding yourself industry mentors. And I don't want you to have an advisor who can give you advice. What I really want people to understand that you need mentors.
Correct.
And all these successful people have mentors. So when I say Facebook, what comes to mind? Mark Zuckerberg.
Community. Yeah.
Yeah. But who created it?
Exactly.
Mark.
Mark.
But who was his mentor? Steve Jobs.
Oh,
And people didn't know that Steve Jobs mentored him. When
right.
Steve Jobs passed away, he posted, "Thank you for mentoring." Okay, I'm giving you some examples, and then I'm going to come to explaining why. Other example is Oprah. She had Maya Angelou teaching her how to word nicely and how to communicate. She learned it, right? The other example is, let's say, Mother Teresa, right? She was actually mentored as well.
Oh,
Mother Teresa was actually mentored by Father Michael Van Der. Um, if I talk about, I'm going to give you a few more examples, but let's say if we go to ancient era, we look at Socrates and others, and we come to know that Socrates had mentored Pluto. Pluto had mentored Aristotle. This is an ongoing phenomenon
right.
from a while back. All these successful people, like Bill Gates, how he made billions was because he was mentored by Warren Buffett, how to actually invest into philanthropy. So when you have mentors, they're not there to advise you. They're there to guide you, to give you a support so that you can learn the tricks and the trade tools of the trade so that you can become who you want to be. There is a difference between a coach and a mentor. If you go to a gym, a coach will tell, or trainer will tell you this position, that position, this, it's temporary because they're just there for that one session. But when we talk about mentoring and we talk about a relationship with mentor, these are the people who giving you the roadmap and giving you that directive that this is what you're going to do. They're going to answer your question. They're going to answer your doubts. They're going to give you an advice. They will show you the path. But what most important, they'll bring their experiences and knowledge and tell you, now learn your experience. Now make your own experience.
Right.
And mentorship doesn't come like this, that you're going to call me and say, hey, do you want to be my mentor? It
Mhm.
doesn't happen, because understand that mentors are people, when they groom you, they are people who are very comfortable that tomorrow you can take their job and they'll be
Right.
happy about it,
Yeah.
right? So this will come from you establishing a relationship. So mentorship comes when you reach out to people, you meet people, you find people that you think have a lot of wisdom, knowledge of the field, but most importantly, you have a connection, because a mentor has to choose you. And if you have a mentor, you will soar the highs. You will really fly. But
Correct.
all
And
this,
see,
yeah,
seeking advice, sometimes as we grow up, the
yes,
egos
ego.
in human
Oh yes,
grows up,
yes,
and
yes,
that's the thing which that becomes a barrier for us to seek
yes,
advice from someone.
yes,
So
yes,
that's I think ego should be broken at some time, at some level, because
yes,
it should not be I have my this thing that thing and I cannot talk to someone. You know?
yes,
So
yes.
that should be a thing, I guess. Should not be much in your terms. It should be broken down at some level. You
For
should
me,
have to sacrifice.
ego is like, my husband usually tells me, he's like, a good wolf and a bad wolf, and which one you're gonna feed,
Mhm.
right? It's very easy for ego to tell you that you're better than this person. What does he know? He's not in your shoe. But you have to understand, if that person is your mentor, then that person is seeing something from their knowledge and their wisdom. And do understand that mentorship has this element of respect. If you're not going to do something your mentor is asking, you still have to go and tell them why you chose not to do it. You're not undermining their authority, right? And you have to understand that somebody's telling you something because they have seen it, they have experienced it, they have lived it, and they're bringing you that knowledge and telling you, well, this is how I see it. Now you take an initiative and see how you can apply it, right?
Correct. So, so I guess we are covering all of things about the network, and the
Yes.
bottle is full with the network, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I'm glad.
with the like coming to conclusion or
Yes.
coming to an end of the series
Yes.
webinar,
Yes.
I'd ask, was there any network, any single network you would like to share with us? You met someone unknown, and that
Mhm.
become a very big thing for you. Was there something for you?
So, for me, yes, I'll just give you a very recent example, and it's not my, it's on my personal level, not on my professional level. Uh, Professional level, when I meet my students, I'll tell you, it's remarkable, because when they reach out to me after 2 years of them, they're just graduating, a lot of them, and when they reach out, it's like I still have that connection. So I know
Okay.
this is my network, right? But on a personal level, I recently started learning swimming, and
Okay.
I'm very afraid of water. I couldn't go in. And this girl, she's younger than me, way younger. She's learning too, and she actually had drowned, and she wanted to get over the fear, so she decided to take. I
Okay.
haven't been drowned. I'm just afraid, and I'm thinking, oh no, 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 water is something else. And she said to me, Rifat, on our second class, you're trusting these poles too much and holding them. You got to trust yourself.
Right.
And we became very good friends, that we message each other, and we're not asking each other to get anything, but like, hey, listen, I'm going, do you want to come with me so we can learn together, practice together? So I know that this relationship is going to go further. Same thing was, I just gave an advice to a neighbor, not knowing, we were just meeting at the gym, and she got the job, and she came to just tell me in a winter that she got the job, and we became good friends. And a lot of my jobs has also come through referrals, the people I've
Okay.
known. So that's what my experience with networking is.
Exactly. So I guess we are pretty much done with all of the things about the network. I see one of the question coming
Yes,
from a viewer. I guess Arjun, you know Arjun?
I remember.
Yeah. Yeah. So He is asking, please comment on something which can motivate an individual even after getting rejected several times after networking attempts.
Okay, so that for me, like, what is it? As I said initially, it's nothing personal, right?
Yeah.
So people have different priorities, different things, and you have to understand, and at that time, that it's not working. So the motivation is, I'm worth it, I'm good enough, it's okay. That's one no, I will go to another. uh, and if you guys remember, I had said that in real estate, 100 no's can lead to only one maybe. So you have to go through 500 no's to get someone to say yes, sell my house, right? So you have to motivate yourself by saying, okay, this person, no problem, let me try the other person. But look at what strategy you're using, why the rejection is happening, because you have to modify and not try the same mistake again with the other person.
Correct. Also, Sneha is asking something. Is there a way to integrate Instagram and LinkedIn to maximize the impact of audiovisual content on Instagram, such as showcasing products on an Instagram business profile? How beneficial would it be, or will it come across and as attention seeker? So she is mostly asking about integration of your personal social field and the corporate thing.
I do know that on LinkedIn you have a field where you can do your PPTs, you can put your portfolios.
Hmm.
There's a whole section that you can do, so you can showcase your work. I usually tell my students, if you have done, like, different courses and you want to show as a project manager that this what we have done, do put that
Yeah.
up on your LinkedIn. I do know, for integrating them together, I'll be honest with you, I don't know how to.
Yeah,
Uh,
but that's a drawback, I guess. Nowadays,
yes,
people are posting all the Instagram stuff on LinkedIn, which
yes.
is not appropriate, I guess,
No,
right?
no, we don't want to do that, because remember, if you if you want to be on Insta, leverage your Insta as an elevator pitch. That means your
Right.
one word showcase of who
Exactly.
you are. It's your brand. So and I know Ms. Neha is probably looking in more of a business aspect. So if that is the case, whatever you're putting it, maybe you could create a short video or auditorial or something, and that's what I'm thinking, and put it on Instas to showcase what you've created and how productive you are.
Right.
Coming to the same thing is like when students do LinkedIn courses every single week, don't do that. You have to show that it's every 6 months to 8 months to a year that you love to take on something challenging and upgrade yourself,
Right.
right? Posting and taking courses are two different things. But Sneha, just to answer your question, I don't know how to integrate, but there are sections for your PPTs that I'll share with you guys, on a link. Yeah, I'll send it
Sure.
to you guys.
Yeah. So, one last advice from your side for all the viewers who are watching us today, and we can come to the conclusion.
So I'm just gonna say that you're the green umbrella. Always remember, you're very unique and you can do anything you set your mind to. It's only the time and a matter of time that it will become a success. So you're a farmer, keep farming, keep trying, and you will see when you have the crop, you'll be playing in money and you'll be rich and you'll be like, whoa, it did work. That's what
Yeah.
my last advice would be to everyone.
Yeah, so thank you so much, ma'am. In this busy schedules, we made a Sunday as a networking Sunday. It was fun. It was interesting. I like doing these things, and I like gaining or learning things from experienced person. As
Yes,
we said, seeking advices.
thank you.
I love it, and thank you for accepting this webinar
No, thank
as a
you for giving
speaker.
me an opportunity
I
to
hope
share.
who all are watching this webinar might have learned something today
Yes,
regarding the
hopefully.
networking. Just to let you all know, I'm will be coming with many different webinar series just for the sake of learnings and sharing few things.
Yeah,
Keep posting everything on LinkedIn. Keep in touch. Make good networks. And if the viewers have any concerns regarding networking, they can find Riffat ma'am on LinkedIn. She is pretty active and they can come in touch with all of us.
thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your time.
Thank
And
you.
I thank all the viewers for joining us today. I guess there were 40 plus attendees today
Oh,
who
really?
joined us for the
They're lovely. And
webinar.
I hope I gave them something to learn and I hope they enjoy it. And
Of
thank you.
course.
thank you for giving me this platform to
Yeah,
share.
just
Share with
last few things, takeaways from my sides are
Yes,
don't judge ourselves.
yes,
Be confident. As
yes,
I said, when you're meeting someone, a bigger personality, dress up, go neatly, and find a cue cards to talk with them.
yes, yes.
And this all are very important to build a network. Uh, that's all from our side, and thanks a lot all for
Thank
watching this. I thank you, ma'am, again, and we are ending this. Have a good day to you.
you. You too. Thank you. Bye now.